Coming up next on this special edition of Arizona Horizon, it's our annual Journalists Year-End Prediction Show, featuring local reporters looking back at their 2024 predictions and forecasting events for 2025. The Journalists Year-End Prediction Show is next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Arizona PBS, members of your public television station.
Good evening and welcome to this special edition of Arizona Horizon. I'm Ted Simons. Tonight we feature our annual year-end show in which we look back at predictions our journalists made on the big news stories for 2024 and hear what they think might make news in 2025. We welcome our guests, Lori Roberts of the Arizona Republic and azcentral.com, Howie Fisher of Capital Media Services, and Jeremy Duda of Axios Phoenix. We should know that Jeremy's wife is employed by Arizona PBS. Now, before we get to next year's predictions, let's see how our journalists did with their predictions for 2024. Producer Mike Salceda has the recap.
Our panelists started out with the biggest question of the night.
Who will be elected president in November?
Donald Trump.
President Trump redo.
President Trump redo. Economy is bad. Joe Biden is fumbling around. We can make a prediction as to whether he'll even stay in the race, but they spend a lot of money. But I don't see him. I don't see Biden coming back for a second term.
Lori, who's the next president?
Well, I think it's going to be really close, but I think that ultimately it will be Joe Biden.
I think Biden, things don't look great for him right now, obviously, but there's still a long way out, and there's a lot that can happen, a lot that probably will happen. I think he'll probably squeak through this one, although I'm not sure if he's going to win Arizona again.
Howie nailed it with Trump going back to the White House. Lori and Jeremy missed the call on that one. The next question was almost as impactful.
All right, Jeremy, sticking with you. Donald Trump, will he be criminally convicted?
I think he will. I mean, we've got, 3, 4, however many cases we have going on. Looks like they're really eager to get these taken care of before the election.
Well, not on anything related to January 6th, and we've seen recently what's happened with the Supreme Court taking up the issue. I think he may end up with some criminal issues in terms of the New York case, but nothing related to January 6th.
Interesting. Criminal convictions.
Yes, I think that he will be criminally convicted in January 6th on maybe one charge and in Georgia.
All three journalists scored points on that one. Panelists next made their prediction on the biggest Arizona race of 2024.
Ooh, another close one. I think it's going to be Ruben Gallego by a hair, by a half a hair. Is there such a thing as a half a hair?
All right, bonus question. Will Senator Sinema be in that race?
No, unless the answer is yes.
I think that Gallego will win. I think that Sinema, this is a rerun of last year. I think she's going to get there and she's going to say there's no path to victory. She will find something else to do.
At the last minute?
June.
I think probably Ruben Gallego wins this one in a pretty close race. I do not think Sinema will be in it.
All three panelists once again got that question correct, as well as the bonus question. Gallego did win his Senate seat, and Kyrsten Sinema dropped out. Arizona's 8th congressional district was wide open as Republican Debbie Lesko left the seat, sparking a mad race among Republicans looking to represent the safe GOP district.
I think it's going to be Abe Hamada. I mean, that Trump endorsement, as we saw in 2022, that goes a long way, and I think that's going to carry him to victory in the CD8 primary.
What do you think,
I have to go the same thing. I see Hamada's already trashing House Speaker Ben Toma, and so, again, the Trump endorsement, and he's got the name ID.
Speaker Toma has the credentials. He has the voting record. He's a conservative. He lives in the district. So Abe Hamada will be the nominee because he's got the golden seal of approval from the orange guy.
Again, a trifecta of winners, with Abe Hamadeh winning that seat. Our panelists then took a stab at predicting which sitting GOP congressman might lose his seat.
I think that David Schweikert's in trouble. He won 2 years ago with like 50.4% of the vote.
At least one, possibly two. I mean, Schweikert and Ciscomani, the Democrats, if they had really targeted those races last year, they might have won it. I think Schweikert is definitely in the most trouble. That was the closest race, and he might have some tough opponents.
See, I think that Ciscomani is most likely to lose because, again, he's the new guy. Look, if Schweikert survived all the stuff with the scandals and having to pay back money and the rest of it, I think he's there.
This question produced a clean sweep of losing. Both David Schweikert and Juan Ciscomani held on to their jobs in Congress. The next question, who would win the Democratic primary in Ciscomani's District 6?
Oh, Lord. Not sure. I mean,
Too tough to call? Too close to call?
too close to-
We'll make it
too
too close to call. Lori, what do you think?
I think it's going to come down to Connor O'Callaghan, I think is his name. He's relatively unknown, long time lived here, left, has come back.
I'm leaning towards Andre Cherney. He's got connections. He's going to have the fundraising. He has some experience. I think this will be the time he gets out of that primary.
Once again, nobody got that one right. Kirsten Engel won the Democratic primary but lost to Siscomani in the general. The next question was who will control the U.S. House and Senate.
I think that the Senate goes down, the House stays in Republican hands.
I think the Democrats are going to hang on to the Senate. I do think, though, that the Republican, wait, who's got the House? The
Republican.
Republicans, yeah, I get them mixed up. I think that they will lose the House.
I think the Democrats will take back the House while they're losing the Senate.
Republicans took the Senate and held on to the House, with Howie gaining 2 points on that one, Jeremy 1, and Lori none. Next, our panel speculated on whether Democrats would finally win a chamber in the state legislature.
This is a tough prediction because people have been predicting for a lot of years that they'd finally get over the hump. I think they will take one chamber, probably the House. I have a hard time seeing them take both, though.
The chamber that they don't take, will Republicans increase their margin?
I don't think they will. I think there's even a shot we could see a split Senate.
Interesting. What do you think, Howard?
And I like the idea of the split Senate. I say a 15-15 Senate, which we haven't had since Randall Gannett was Senate president.
Interesting. Senate, let's go Senate and House. What's the makeup?
I think the Democrats will either take the Senate or more likely tie it up.
The Democrats had no such luck, and Republicans even increased their hold on the Senate and the House. Each panelist was awarded 1 point. Next, they turned to how many vetoes Governor Katie Hobbs would issue.
I see, I can't remember what I went with last year. Let's go with 66.
So I think it's going to be, 98.
98. All right. What do you got? 66, 98? What do you got?
I'm going to go for 90.
Lori won on that question, with Governor Hobbs vetoing 73 bills in 2024. Next, the panelists took a stab at predicting when the legislature would end its 2024 session.
I'm going to say May 20th. I think they're going to get out a little earlier than people think. Certainly not like last year. It's an election year. They want to get out of there. They want to campaign. Both sides have their eye on the legislature. So they're going to try and get out of there, I think, a bit early. Certainly not August.
You took my date.
Oh.
I was going to say that. So on the idea that under wins, right? I'll
Yes.
go with May 19th.
Tactical. What do you think?
I think it's going to be June 15th.
Howie not only won this question, but nailed the date right on the nose. They did end on June 15th, getting 1 point there. The next question was about a proposition for open primaries.
Howie, Make Elections Fair Act. First of all, going to make the ballot, and if so, does it win?
It does make the ballot, recognizing there are two competing measures.
Right.
But assuming the main one does it, I don't think it wins.
I think it makes the ballot. I think it wins. And I think that the powers that be immediately sue to get it thrown out.
I think it makes the ballot, and whether it wins is hard to call, but I'm leaning towards yes. I think it probably wins. I think
After some tough legal challenges, it did make the ballot, but was defeated in the election. Howie gets a full point there, with Lori and Jeremy each getting half a point. Next, our panelists speculated on the success of a measure to protect abortion.
Arizona Abortion Act. Make the ballot, succeed.
it'll make the ballot, and I think it'll win pretty easily.
Pretty easily. What do you think, Howie?
I think it'll make the ballot. I think it'll be approved. I think that presidential year, and a lot of people are really upset. Now, the caveat is, what does the Supreme Court do? If the Supreme Court goes back to no abortion except to save the life of the mother, I think the thing gets 78%. If the Supreme Court goes back to 15 weeks, I think it wins by 59%.
Lori?
I'm with you on that. I think that it makes the ballot and it wins. I don't think it will necessarily win by as much as 59% if we have the 15-week law.
The abortion measure passed by nearly 62%, with all three scoring points. Next, our panelists turned their crystal ball to the economy to predict whether 2024 would include a recession.
Well, Donald Trump has said there'll be a depression if he loses, so I'm going to go with no.
Okay, that's right, because Howie, recession next year?
No, I don't see it. I think that that we're going to have the soft landing. I mean, I think there'll be a few months of things getting into, maybe a bit of deflation, but I don't see the kind of what legally constitutes a recession happening.
What do you think, Jeremy?
I think no. I think economic conditions are not going to be great, kind of like they are now, for even though some benchmarks are pretty good. A lot of folks are just going to view it as bad because of inflation, because of some other factors, but I don't think it'll anything that qualifies technically as a recession.
All our panelists' crystal balls were correct. There was no recession. Next on the docket, sports.
Let's go with Suns. Will they go back to the playoffs?
They will get they'll go into the first round and they will lose there.
First round loss. All right, Lori, Suns.
I think that they will make the finals if they are healthy.
Okay.
And that's a big if.
That's a big if. Jeremy, Suns in the playoffs.
I think they'll get to the Western Conference Finals with the same caveat that if the big three are healthy, if they're not, I think they'll still get to the second round.
All right, Diamondbacks, Jeremy, playoffs?
I think they will.
Yeah.
I think they can make it to the NLDS. Getting further than that. Not now that the Dodgers have Ohtani. I don't know. It's going to be a bit of a
kind of changes the
It's going to be a bit
cards.
tougher.
Oh, I think they could go to the National League Championship Series, but beyond that, no.
No. Okay. What do you think, Lori?
I think
Diamondbacks.
they'll make the playoffs, absolutely. They made it all the way last year. Well, almost.
Almost all. Well,
I think they'll make it to the second round.
All three correctly predicted that the Suns would get to the playoffs, but only Howie predicted a loss in the first round. The Suns were swept by the Timberwolves. Our panelists were swept in their prediction about the Diamondbacks, who did not make the playoffs. The show ended with the traditional sure shot, long shot predictions by the journalists.
My sure shot is that the recall, which will be launched in January against Katie Hobbs, will fail miserably. Even assuming they get the signatures, which I don't think they will, there is just no way voters are going to say, oh, we want to put her back on the ballot. Long shot is that while I believe that Trump will win the presidency, I think he will lose in Arizona because of the abortion issue and some of the other stuff on the ballot.
Interesting. What do you got, Lori? Sure shot, long shot?
I think my sure shot, well, it's not sure, but I think that the fake electors will be indicted, but only 4 of them. For the long shot is we've had all of those Republican, remember this is also a county race year, all of the Republican county officials who've been beaten about the head and shoulders and threatened and everything else, I think every single one of them will win re-election.
Wow. All
in
right.
Maricopa County.
The Arizona Supreme Court will say the 15-week ban and not the territorial ban is what is going to be in effect. The long shot, I'm going to say U of A's budget struggles continue, and they will have to privatize the basketball program.
Howie scored no points on this, losing on his sure shot of Governor Katie Hobbs being recalled and Donald Trump losing Arizona, neither of which occurred. Lori got a point for her prediction Arizona's fake electors would be indicted. She lost on her long shot that all Maricopa County elected officials who fought election denialism would be re-elected. Republican Stephen Richer lost in the primary to Justin Heap. Jeremy was wrong on his prediction that the Arizona Supreme Court would uphold the 15-week abortion ban instead of the 1864 ban. But he was correct that the University of Arizona's budget woes would continue, but the school never privatized its basketball program. Howie was the winner with a score of 13.5, while Lori and Jeremy tied at 9.5.
All right. Boy, you're going to be impossible to deal with, aren't you?
I've been impossible to deal with for years.
Yes, you have. All right, congratulations, Howie.
Okay.
I don't congratulate.
Yeah, okay. You guys can do whatever you want, and congratulations are over. It's on. What have you done for me lately? And we're going to find out with our new predictions. Lori, we'll start with you. Let's start with mass deportations. Will the Trump administration conduct mass deportations?
Oh, absolutely. It was the cornerstone of his campaign as recently as December. He's been, since his election, he's said, yes, he is. His border czar has said on day one there will be mass deportations, so yes.
Howie?
I think he's going to, if you want to call it mass deportations, he's going to go after the criminal elements. I don't see sheriffs and National Guard and everyone else coming in the streets and going after all 11 million people who are not here legally. But I think that there will be deportations of those they have identified as either criminal or have already been issued orders to leave.
Mass deportations, Jeremy.
I think so. I mean, this was such an important part of Trump's campaign platform. I think it won't happen on day one the way he's been saying. I mean, that obviously there's some logistical issues that need to be taken care of, but there will be mass deportation. I think not just of the criminal element. I think of kind of a wider deportation.
Let's do a bonus here with the logistics here. Will he declare national emergency and use the military in this process?
I'll say yes of the emergency, but the military just for more, in the same way that Arizona governors do for kind of the administrative stuff, saying, oh, we're deploying the National Guard, but it's not really kind of what people picture when they hear that.
And that's really crucial because I don't see having Army privates and sergeants and lieutenants knocking on people's doors. I don't see any way you use the military to actually round people up.
Yeah.
What do you think, Lori?
I think that he'll threaten it. In the end, I don't think that he will do that. I do think he will declare a national emergency. I do think that he will use the National Guard, but I don't expect to see tanks going into Maryvale, if that's what you're thinking.
All right, Lori, will Donald Trump end the Ukraine war in 2025?
Well, he said he would end it before he even takes office. So I'm expecting any day now for the missiles to, stop. But Gosh, I hope so. Wouldn't it be nice? He says he has a very good plan. He won't tell us what it is, so I'm going to say yes.
Is that like Nixon's secret plan to end the war in Vietnam,
If I
which
tell
was
you, I'd have
pulling
to-
out, but we'll leave that aside. I think that by this time next year, we will be in a stasis situation. There'll be sort of I won't call it a ceasefire. Trump will take credit, but I think it'll have nothing to do with it other than the fact that the aid is just drying up on both sides. So I think it'll just be some sort of neutral position
Is that
with the Russians holding on to some
Is
property.
that a yes?
I think he will claim credit for whatever happens.
I think it'll probably take till 2026 to get kind of a formal end to the war, but there'll probably be very little shooting by then. Both sides are pretty exhausted.
Okay, let's keep it moving here with Donald Trump imposing tariffs on Mexico and Canada. Will he do it?
I think so. He's talked so much about it. It's kind of going to be kind of hard to walk that back without doing at least something.
What do you think, Hal? That's pretty serious stuff.
I think it will, but I don't think they'll last. I think at the moment that avocados go up to $12 a piece and tomatoes cease to be available, a lot of folks are going to say, "Excuse me," and then Mexican, all the stuff we send down to Mexico, not going to last.
So it'll be a yes and then a no.
I
Yes.
think the same thing. I think it will be a yes and then a very quick no, and he will declare victory. He will find that he gets some concession from both Canada and Mexico, and he'll declare victory and say that he solved the problem. But every economist says that it would be a disaster for the economy to declare a general tariff on our closest trading partners.
All right, Laurie, sticking with you. Will there be a recession in 2025?
No, I don't think so, unless, the caveat being, unless his general tariff goes into effect and in a long-term way. But inflation seems to be holding. I do not think we will have a recession.
I don't think so. The stock market has already reacted to his election, all of his promises. I think that the folks who buy and sell stocks have said, yeah, well, we're fine. I'd even predict that we're going to reach another Dow record.
Yay or nay, recession?
I don't think so, no.
No. All right, let's keep it moving then. J6 pardons. Will Trump pardon? I kind of want to say all of them, but let's just say most of them.
Oh, I think definitely. I think that's going to happen very quickly once he's inaugurated.
What do you think?
Yes, I think that he's going to have to separate out those. When you've got video images of certain people beating police officers, using weapons, using tear gas, I think he'd be hard-pressed to say those are innocent victims here. But I think, like Jeremy does, I think that he's going to take 75% of them.
75%. I was going to say,
The lion's share of them will be quickly pardoned, I believe. But like you, and I would certainly hope that those who have been beaten police officers over the head would not get a pardon.
Laurie, will the Department of Justice, the new Department of Justice, indict a news organization?
No, I don't believe that they will. I think instead there will be the continued unending day-to-day demonization of reporters and news organizations. I think there will probably be civil lawsuits against them. We've already started to see that. And I think they may unravel some policies having to do with protection of anonymous sources, but I would not expect to see a criminal conviction.
Howie.
And that's the problem. I don't think you can do criminal convictions. I mean, the burden of proof, yes. The old saying is a prosecutor could indict a hamburger. And I don't doubt that that's true. But I think there are enough professionals there, even with some of Trump's people at the top, to say, no, we don't want to go down this path because we're going to end up getting slapped by the Supreme Court.
I think no indictments. I think we'll see investigations, threats, probably civil lawsuits like Laurie said, but I don't think indictments, no.
Let's get local here. Jeremy, will lawmakers in any way, shape, or form touch ESAs this session?
Oh, not a chance.
Not a chance.
Governor Hobbs will talk about it a lot. The Democrats will talk about it a lot. Won't happen.
No way, no how?
I think they will nibble on the edges in terms of saying we need some accountability, perhaps some auditing, perhaps add more staff to Tom Horne's staff to go ahead and audit. But beyond that, cutting back, not going to happen.
I think that they may add some staff to audit. Clearly, Tom Horne needs some help given all of these fake children that we're paying to educate. But if they do anything definitive, it will be mostly to raise the amount of money that you can get out of an ESA.
Okay, so they might just do something then, in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
All right, good. We got a yay on that one.
Yay.
Sticking with you, Laurie, early election, the ballot drop-offs, a lot of attention on that right now. Will that be a subject in the next session?
I think it'll be one of the first bills that they pass and send to Governor Hobbs, and I think it'll be one of the first vetoes that she sends right back to them. and then it will be sent to the ballot for 2026.
Wow. What do you think, Howie?
I don't know if he's even going to get sent to the ballot. I think what's going to happen is after she vetoes that, I think she's going to be under a lot of pressure because there are a lot of people from her own party who say, look, we have become the quote-unquote laughing stock that we're sitting here 2 weeks out and trying to figure out how we're doing it. I think she's willing to compromise in some areas in terms of if we extend early voting up till voting day and then allow for some liberal form of dropping off ballots, perhaps with ID. I think she will compromise.
I don't think she's going to compromise on that. I think she's already kind of drawn that line in the sand. I think they'll send it to her, she'll veto it, and then they're going to send it to the ballot.
All right, with that in mind, how many, give me a number, how many vetoes for the governor this session?
I'm going to say 105. And
105?
Not as many as in her first term, more than last year. They have slightly larger majorities in both chambers. You have new folks who are going to want to kind of push the envelope and make her veto stuff. So it's going to be more than last year.
So the downward trend is adios.
Right. It's going to go up,
I think
down,
we're going to be
up.
less. I think it's going to be down to in the 75 range because I think, and we'll talk about this in my long shot, I think that things are going to get screwed up in the House by themselves and they're going to have problems sending stuff to her.
Give me a number, Lori.
I think it's going to be about 92. We had 143 the first year, 73 the second year. I'm going to split the difference, kind of go with 92 for the reasons that Jeremy said.
Will the governor sign any bills this session that she has previously vetoed?
Well, let's see. We've taken care of the tamales, so I would say no, because why give it doesn't do her any good with the Republicans or with constituents, and it just gives the Republicans a chance to paint her as wishy-washy.
What do you think, Howie?
Other than the issue where I think she's going to agree to a compromise on the bill she vetoed about election deadlines, I don't see her coming back and saying, oh, no, I was wrong. And this isn't even an election year.
I don't think so. Most of the stuff she vetoes is very partisan stuff that's sent up there to get vetoed. I think she'll probably find something she can say that she's compromised on. Got an election year coming up for her in 26.
Okay, all right. Sine die, give me a date.
Uh,
I think it's going to take a while. I'm going to say June 25th.
Howie?
August 15th.
Lori?
August, oh my goodness. June 30th.
Okay, very good. That was nice
I
and
did
quick.
not have the
All
August
right.
one.
Howie, we'll start with you on this one. How many Republicans will announce for governor?
By this time next year, I'd say 4.
What do you think? Lori, we'll go with you. How many Republicans will announce for governor?
I was going to say 5, and it's only mostly because they're auditioning for lieutenant governor.
Interesting. Okay, so basically shoot for the stars, land on the moon.
She took my answer. I was going to say 5 because
5?
you'd have at least a couple who are angling to get that running mate spot now that we have that.
All right. Will any Democrat announce a run for governor?
I think no one besides Hobbs. There may be a token opposition, someone who we're not really going to pay much attention. But in terms of serious challengers, I don't think so, no.
What do you think, Howie?
I don't think so. I think that you could find anybody, you get the signatures and put your name on the ticket. The only caveat is that if, as much as Adrian Fontes has said, I'm not going to run, we get to November of next year, and all of a sudden Katie is floundering somewhere. He's going to see. I feel a draft. I'm telling you.
We don't like caveats there. Is yes or nay for Democrats?
None, really.
Okay, what do you think?
No other major candidate other than Hobbs. Democrats never challenge each other, the major ones in these races.
All right, Lori, how many Republicans will announce for Attorney General?
Like 30? No. I'd say 5. They want this job back. I think that they'll ultimately winnow that down. But in terms of getting out there and exploring, I'd say 5.
What do you think, Howie?
I think it's going to be closer to 7, and a lot of it depends on whether Andrew Gould, who tried last time, gets the job as U.S. Attorney.
Okay, we got a 3 and we got a 7. Where are you, Jeremy?
I'm going to say 3. I think we already have the 2 with Peterson and Glassman, and I think we'll probably get one more serious candidate in there, and I think everyone else is going to say there's not really room for any more.
All right, Jeremy, Kyrsten Sinema, what will she be doing after she leaves? What will she be doing this time next year?
Either lobbying, interest group, something along those lines, something where she'll still have some influence in D.C., but obviously out of the elected game.
In D.C., not in Arizona.
I think in D.C., yeah.
Howie?
I like that answer. I mean, it's not like she's going to be a Carrie Lake and be in charge of some Voice of America or something.
Well, you never know. Lori, what do you think?
No, I think Democrats despise her. Republicans have no more use for her. I think that she could well end up to be the spokesmodel for Uggs, boots. Or, barring that, she'll wind up on a cushy corporate board and have the money to trot the globe.
If she winds up with Uggs, you win the whole thing hands down. It doesn't matter what anybody else said. Real quickly, will the Suns go to the playoffs?
Yes, I think that they will. I want to say they'll go all the way, baby, but it's just such a health issue. I'm going to say second round.
First round, like
First
last
round? All right. What do you think, Jeremy?
Second round if Durant's healthy, first round if not.
All right, Jeremy. Well, the Diamondbacks, will they go to the playoffs?
I don't think so. I think they'll get close, but I think we're starting to see that they might be losing some folks, some key players. So I think grudgingly no.
year. I'll give them a wild card slot.
All right, Howie. Sure shot, long shot. We've hit that time of the program.
Sure shot. Next Supreme Court Justice Maria Elena Cruz. She's a Court of Appeals judge, Democrat. Be the first black on the Supreme Court, first Hispanic woman on the Supreme Court. Long shot, there's going to be a rebellion among House Republicans. Steve Montenegro is not liked by the conservatives, and there's going to come a point during the session where things are going to blow up.
Interesting. Lori.
Well, first of all, I want to talk about the Diamondbacks because you didn't ask for my opinion.
Oh, I'm sorry. I
That's
forgot
okay.
that. What-
I think that they will not make the playoffs. I think that, it used to be the Dodgers were in our pool. Now they're in our way. So
Okay.
no, they won't make it. So for my sure shot, I'm going to say that a deal will be struck early in the year on state land trust funding for schools in time for the spring ballot. My long shot is going to be that there will be chatter at least or an outright push by the Trump administration to jail Katie Hobbs.
Oh, you're going to go for that story, aren't you?
Well, why not?
All right. What do you think, Jeremy?
Sure shot. I think Attorney General Chris Mays will initiate at least one lawsuit against the Trump administration. She'll probably sign on to others with other Democratic governors and AGs. She'll initiate at least one. Long shot, Arizona gets a professional hockey team again next year.
Wow. Okay. Some good sure shots, some good long shots, some good predictions, and you did well last year, so we'll leave that alone.
Yes.
Good to have you all here. Thanks for joining us. That's it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thank you so much for joining us on this special edition of Arizona Horizon. You have a great evening.